Every scale you have ever learned, the major, the minor, the pentatonic, the blues, is carved out of one bigger scale. A scale that uses all 12 notes and leaves nothing out. There are only 12 notes in Western music before they repeat, and this scale plays every single one of them, in order, with no gaps. It is called the chromatic scale, and it is less attuned than the raw material that every other scale is cut from. Think of it as the complete set of pieces. Every melody you love, every chord, every other scale, is built by choosing some of these 12 notes and leaving the rest out. So before we ever choose, it is worth meeting the whole set. Let us build it from the bottom up, listen to why it feels so strange, and then see how every familiar scale is hiding inside it. Building it is the simplest thing in all of music. You play every key in order, white and black alike, one half step at a time, from any starting note up to the same note an octave higher. A half step is the smallest distance there is on the keyboard, the move from any key to the key immediately next to it, with nothing in between. Start on the note C. Then move up by that smallest possible step, a single half step, to the very next key, which is C sharp, the black key just to its right. Then to the note D, then D sharp, then E. Notice there is no black key between E and F, so the next half step lands straight on F. Then F sharp, then G sharp, then A sharp, then B. And again, no black key between B and C, so the last half step lands on the note C, an octave above where we began. Count them as they climb, that is 12 steps, 12 different notes, and then home. White, black, never skipping a key. Every step is the same size, exactly one half step, all the way up. Now here is what makes the chromatic scale unlike any other. Listen to it climb again and notice what is missing. There is no tonic. No single note feels like home, no note feels like the place the others want to return to. Think about a major or minor scale for a moment. There, the steps are uneven, a mix of whole steps and half steps in a particular order, and that uneven pattern is exactly what gives one note the feeling of being the center. Your ear hears the pattern, finds the home note, and everything is measured against it. The chromatic scale has no such pattern. Every step is identical, one half step, so no note stands out and nothing pulls you anywhere. Play it slowly and wait for it to resolve, to land somewhere that feels finished, and it simply never does. It just keeps climbing, evenly, forever. It has no major feeling and no minor feeling, no brightness and no sadness, because that feeling comes entirely from the uneven spacing of an ordinary scale, and here the spacing is perfectly even. It is, in a sense, the most neutral set of notes there is. So if it has no character of its own, what is it good for? It is the full palette. Every scale that does have a character is just a selection of notes lifted out of these 12. Take the chromatic scale and keep only 7 of its notes, spaced in the right places, and you have built C major, the brightest, most settled scale there is. Those 7 are the white keys, chosen from the 12 and the black one set aside. Throw most of them away and keep just 5, and you have the pentatonic, the open, friendly scale behind countless folk songs and guitar solos. Choose a different handful and you have the natural minor, darker and sadder. Add one more and you have the blues. Each one is a different recipe, but every recipe draws from the same 12 ingredients. The chromatic scale holds all of them at once. It is the box of 12 crayons, and every other scale is just a smaller set chosen out of that same box. There is one wrinkle worth knowing, and it is about how these notes are written down. Each black key has 2 names. The black key between C and D can be called C sharp, raised up a half step from C, or D flat, lowered down a half step from D. It is one key, one sound, but 2 spellings, and which name we choose follows a simple convention. Going up, you write the chromatic scale with sharps, because each note is rising toward the next one above it. So climbing, you spell it C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and so on up to the top. Coming back down, you write it with flats instead, because each note is falling toward the one below. So descending, you spell it C, B, B flat, A flat, G, and onward to the bottom. The whole idea is that the notation moves in the same direction as the line. Sharps lead the eye upward, flats lead it downward, and so the way you spell a note quietly tells the reader which way the music is going. You almost never hear all 12 notes played in a straight row outside a lesson like this one. Where you really meet the chromatic scale is in pieces of it, dropped into ordinary music. A chromatic run is a quick flurry up or down through these half steps, packed close together, used to dazzle or to build excitement. A passing note is gentler, a single chromatic note slipped between two notes of the key, sliding smoothly from one to the next instead of leaping over the gap. Listen first to a plain rise from C to D, a single whole step. Now hear the same move with a chromatic note, C sharp, sliding through the middle, filling the gap so the line glides up by two small steps instead of one large one. That extra note belongs to no key in particular, and that is exactly the point. It adds a little burst of tension and color, a moment of spice laid over the home key, before the music settles back onto a note that does belong. That is the chromatic scale doing its real job, a few notes at a time. And building your own is genuinely the easiest scale to make. There is nothing to memorize, no pattern of whole steps and half steps to count, no formula to recall. You start on any note at all and you play every single key in order until you reach that note again an octave up. Because the chromatic scale is the same in every key, you can begin anywhere. Pick a black key if you like. Begin on F sharp and walk up by half steps, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, and back to F sharp at the top. 12 steps again, the same even climb, just starting from a different place. It does not matter where you start, because there is no home note to start from. Just play every note, miss none, and you have the chromatic scale. So that is the chromatic scale. 12 notes, every half step on the keyboard, white and black with nothing skipped. It has no home note and no major or minor feeling, because its steps are perfectly even, and feeling is born from uneven spacing. You spell it with sharps going up and flats coming down, so the notation always follows the line. And remember the big idea, the one thing to carry away, it is the raw material, the full set of 12 notes from which every other scale is selected. Once you can really see the chromatic scale, you can see that the major scale, the minor, the pentatonic, the blues, and all the rest are simply different ways of choosing notes out of it. Next, we will go inside one of those choices and meet the 7 degrees of a single key, each one with its own name and its own job to do.